A shocking announcement in the sports world today. The PGA and Saudi-backed Live Golf, formerly bitter rivals, have officially announced a merger. The deal is a major victory for Saudi Arabia and a huge investment in the sport. But off the course, PGA is facing enormous criticism for their hypocrisy, from standing against the Saudis for human rights violations to joining forces and cashing in. This is another example of how ethics, business and brands coexist. So I brought in a team of experts to discuss it all. Michael Duda, managing partner at Bullish. He has 2 decades of brand management under his belt. Jeffrey Sonnenfeld, senior associate dean for leadership studies at Yale School of Management. Bob Feldman, founder of the Dialogue Project at Duke University. He is an expert in corporate communication strategy with more than 30 years of experience. And award-winning marketer, Dr. Marcus Collins. Bob, I want to turn to you first. What is your take? I mean, the PGA was trying to pressure and even threaten to punish some of their golfers if they took the money from Live, and then they turned around, cut their own deal, and informed everyone on social media. It's like straight out of Succession.
It's unbelievable. I mean, there were some big winners here. Obviously, the Live golfers who took the money. I mean, people like Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson come out looking really good. I think there are some big losers here. I think Rory, for example, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, who used a lot of personal of their own persuasion of golfers to stick with the PGA Tour, come out looking pretty bad in this. I think Jay Monahan, the commissioner, is the guy who just a year or two ago said, do you ever have to apologize for being with the PGA, inferring the problem with Live? And now they're taking the money. I will say one big winner, though, ultimately is the golf fan. To golfers, having a single consolidated tour with the best players to play in the majors, to play in these elevated events, to play in the Ryder Cup, all of that is a big win, I think, for golf fans.
But that's sort of the thing, Marcus, that obviously businesses make business decisions. And at the end of the day, if the golf community, if people who play golf and watch golf don't care, what happens to the moral high ground that the PGA was at one point proudly standing on?
I think that's the challenge that the brands face by and large. It's that these brands are being interpreted. Its meaning is being negotiated by the people, and the people are the ones who decide what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, based on where they spend their money, based on where their foot go and where their conversations land. And when it comes to the checks and balances of all this, it essentially lands on the leaders of these organizations. Are they going to be led by conviction or led by convenience? Are they going to be led based on what they believe, on what might be fiduciarily beneficial for the company? There needs to be a balance between the two. And if the people aren't going to keep these leaders honest, then there has to be some sense of conviction, some sense of morality that's going to keep them on the straight and narrow.
Michael, what's your take on the PGA here?
I think the convictions and balance are nice, but at the end of the day, money talks. And as I said earlier, the fans aren't going to care. They're going to tune in. You know, a couple weeks ago, Michael Block, great story, amateur golfer, did well in the PGA Championship. When he made that par in 18, it was a high for ratings for the day, even higher than when Brooks Koepka of the Live Tour actually hit the putt to win in it. So there's great storylines. You're talking about a sport that's grew 12% last year. 41 million people played golf last year, and only 26 million are on course. So things like Topgolf and other things are exploding. So I think a year from now, golf is going to be a big winner. People won't remember, but boy, if I'm Jay Monahan, I'm probably wish I had a mulligan to some of the things I've been saying in the past.
But that's the thing. How could they just, it feels like a minute ago, be standing locked arms with 9/11 widows saying we stand against this, and then say, oh, this moral high ground that I was on, I got a flat tire, so I said forget it.
That's exactly what everyone's asking now, because when you see the reactions of players who this was taken off guard, the fact that the NBCs and the other networks who are big supporters of the PGA Tour didn't know, this feels rushed. It's interesting. So I think more of the story is going to come out. We know there was a meeting with the commissioner and the players earlier today that hasn't been totally leaked, but it doesn't all make sense. So there's a lot of retrenching. But you're right, it rationally doesn't make sense to why it went down this way, and all of a sudden how convictions went out the window, right?
Jeffrey?
Yes.
The professor?
I'm glad you asked me, because I don't know if we're allowed to share whispers from the green room, but he didn't say it was off the record. But one other thing that you added to it, that this was a deal done, I think you felt, Michael, more by distress from the PGA. And I don't know. I think
they have been in an epic legal battle with LIV. LIV obviously has much deeper pockets. But is this about pockets or is it about morality? Because a minute ago, Saudis were always going to have more money.
Well, you definitely have the social issues concerns of the LGBTQ community and, and human rights issues in general, of course, and Saudi Arabia concerns, as you mentioned, about the 9/11 problems, issues across the board on social matters, the Khashoggi murder. But they're in trouble. That's it. What I don't think anybody has talked about today until your show, right this second, is that isn't it a coincidence? This is right after the Saudis broke ranks with OPEC Plus as the only ones who said we're going to have to cut production because we need more money. And unfortunately, commentators everywhere fell for the nonsense when they said we're not making break even. Their break even is $22 a barrel. Oil is at $72 a barrel now. They're making break even, but they're losing money on everything else. Their Vision Fund is a disaster. Their investment with SoftBank.
So you're over my head. Is what you're saying
the Saudis need money.
This assumption that the Saudis have an endless pot of money just isn't true?
That's exactly right. They can't make ends meet. They have a big problem funding their government right now, and that's why they're asking for more oil revenues. Their oil revenues are down.
If they have no money, why are they putting $1 gazillion into golf?
Well, this is why they're trying to, I think, do this deal, do this merger. They're trying to get out of certain things, and this gets them to back down a little. They've way overpaid, obviously, with talent. And I don't think they're comfortable with necessarily where this litigation was going to go. So this helps them to back out a little and share a lot of the risk. They're building a city. They're putting $500 billion into a city of NEOM. Haven't gotten a penny back from that. And they've been investing with SoftBank and losing money there. They lost $32 billion on one investment. That starts to add up even for the Saudis. So I think they're doing this out of distress. And the PGA, I don't know. The PGA board, Ed Hurley from Wachtell is brilliant. Jimmy Dunn on the board there that helped make this deal happen. I think these are very smart, extremely honest people. I put a lot of faith in Jimmy Dunn and Ed Hurley. They know what they're doing. I'm just wondering if the Saudis aren't just kicking sand in everybody's face.
All right, well, you're in luck. Because everyone has a